I'm sorry that I left you. I didn't say goodbye. This day was always gonna come. I'm sad to hear your tears at night, my pillow in your arms. Don't think the bullet means they won. My memories live on through you. You will get stronger too. Our love will never die like me. I know I'm hard to see. Imagine I'm still with you. You can see me in the light. The scent still on the shirt you take to bed at night. Imagine I'm still with you. I'm coming home from lands afar. You're watching every sunrise. I know where you are, 'cause I'm still here with you. 'Cause I'm still here with you. I follow you, walking. I see you in the distance. It feels good when I see you smile. Remember the good times, you need to find them too, if only for a while. My memories live on through you. You will get stronger too. Our love will never die like me. I know I'm hard to see. Imagine I'm still with you. You can see me in the light. The scent still on the shirt you take to bed at night. Imagine I'm still with you. I'm coming home from lands afar. You're watching every sunrise. I know where you are, 'cause I'm still here with you. 'Cause I'm still here with you. I'm still here with you.
Okay, there we go. That was Andrew James there with Soldier On. And now we have an extra treat for you here on Stratcast, as I'm actually joined by Andrew James and the lyric writer Chris Onslow. So a big welcome to them in the studio. And guys, thank you very much for joining us. I know you're very busy people. And you've actually been very busy this week. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'll leave Chris to tell you about that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we've been promoting the single this week. We kind of all got day jobs, but we took the week off to go around doing radio interviews, TV interviews, and what I particularly enjoyed is we've done a tour of the schools.
Right.
So we've been to primary schools, secondary schools, and of course today at the college. And we've played to over 6,500 children, or we would have by the end of the week.
Absolutely. And Andrew told me that you're actually getting quite out there. You've got a few radio playlists as well, I believe. Tell us a little bit about that. Touch FM are involved, I believe.
Touch have been great. I mean, I'm lucky to have a standing relationship with Touch, but I mean, they could not have done more. The local station, they not only are they've done an advert for it, they've playlisted it, but they've got about 8 stations or something, I think. And then
yes.
there's other. We've done the BFBS, which is the massive global forces station. They interviewed Chris and Tony Conrad's father. Have done a few interviews for other. We won't list them all, but other radio stations as well. It's been Midlands Today, So it's been great. Support's been massive.
It's absolutely fantastic stuff. You're getting yourself out there. Now, we've just heard your track, and it's a fantastic song within its own right. But of course, it's made so much better by the story behind it. You've got a fantastic sentimental value behind it. So, Chris, do you want to tell us a little bit about that for those that don't know?
And I think there's two stories behind it. Of course, the cover shot is Private Conrad Lewis, the 353rd soldier to be killed in the conflict in Afghanistan. Conrad was a friend of the family, friend of my children, and I'm a friend of Tony Lewis, the father. And we wanted to raise some really good money for 353, which is a military charity, which then donates that money to other military charities that support the 447 soldiers killed in conflict. So we decided to put the single out called Soldier On, and the lyrics are about loss. They're not really just about losing someone in conflict. And I think people will resonate if they've lost someone in recent times. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, you mentioned the lyrics there. Of course, you wrote them. There's some very, very powerful lyrics within the song. How did you come up with those? I suppose with a story like that, they probably do come quite easily when it's quite an emotional story.
Yeah, it's honestly, I sat on a plane coming back from Canada. I decided I was going to write the single, or try and write the single, because you say it's quite an emotional piece. And I thought I have to be Tony Lewis, the father. So I tried to imagine what it's like. I'm a father of a son as well, and two daughters. But I wanted to think, what does he go through? What's his emotions feel like? And I confess, when I started to write the song, I actually got quite upset on the plane, and the hostess came and asked me if I felt unwell and would like a glass of water. But I was thinking about the physicality of losing someone, and thought, yes, we lose someone and they're not with us anymore, but actually the memories of the person are there all the time. And in particular, Conrad Lewis, they brought the dog home that Conrad befriended in Afghanistan. Could you believe that? A stray dog that he took in, became a great friend and a great comfort, and he lives here in Warwickshire with a family. And I thought, he sees his football boots in the hall, he drives by his school, he looks at his own son Jordan, who looks very much like Conrad too. So when we lose someone, yes, there's the physicality, but you actually have still got so many memories. So the two lines were, imagine I'm still here with you. So the structure of the song starts with an apology. The opening line is, I'm sorry I left you. I didn't say goodbye. Someone's torn from you. This day was always going to come. Tony Lewis says that Conrad used to say, I'm invincible, Dad. And if I'm not, just get busy living. And he was a brave soldier. But it moves on to this anthemic chorus of, I'm still here with you. Trying to deal with the fact that everywhere you go, everywhere he moves, and every day that he goes through his life, there's memories of Conrad. So I wrote the lyrics, I sent them to Tony in an email one Sunday night, and I wondered, honestly, if I'd encroached on his grief, and was it too much, because it's quite raw. And an email came back within seconds. I said, if you like the lyrics, I'd actually like to record the song. And it just said, when do we start recording? And I've never forgot that. Enter the maestro to sing the song. And,
absolutely.
And
well, I suppose it says a lot when you write the lyrics and then it actually upsets yourself by reading back your own lyrics. Obviously speaks millions. And Andrew, for yourself, when you first read the lyrics, what were your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts is, I've got to make this into a song and try and do it justice. For exactly as Chris has just said, you've got to try and get a song, I think, especially a charity song, that's got broad appeal, is going to hopefully, you're never going to appeal to everybody, of course, because we've all got different tastes, but something that sits nicely, safe, broad appeal, and, how are we going to make sure, because it's obviously a really sensitive subject, how am I going to make sure that, the melody's right, that it all just sits right? But as you just said, it's funny, isn't it, that you could say, well, it was actually quite easy. I think some of the most difficult subjects that you've got to write a song about, Chris had already done a great job with the lyrics, it came down really easy. I just jammed it out on the piano. I'm talking literally 20 minutes, half an hour, and it was all sort of starting to come through.
It does seem, when you're performing, it seems very natural, very close to you as well, which is excellent to see. But now you have been very busy, and of course this song, all the proceeds is going towards charity, which you've mentioned. Now you actually quoted Conrad there with "Get Busy Living."
Yes,
we've got our little bands. Look, it's his slogan: "Get busy living."
Yeah, which I believe is actually obviously the slogan for the charity as well. So tell people at home what the charity does.
Well, 353, obviously named after the 353rd soldier, but there were 352 before, and there is unfortunately 447 now that have been killed. And Tony Lewis says it was a number that didn't start or end. It's 353. It would go on, and he didn't want Conrad to be remembered as a number. So the 3 is actually turned around the other way, so it's not actually 353. And 353 have been going obviously 3 years since his death. They've raised, I think, in the order of £300,000 so far, which is an enormous amount of money. And that's distributed to military charities. So charities that help people that have come back from conflict, that come back wounded. We often remember the heroes that have been killed. We remember the boys that walk back, of course, but there's also the wounded, which is, you know, a group that Tony feels very passionately about helping. And then through those military charities to Nasdaq Dogs, because they brought Peg home, which is no mean feat to get a stray dog from Afghanistan back into this country. So it's all to come into 353 and then distributed to military charities.
Absolutely, well, it's a brilliant scheme, I have to say. And now, you've been very busy, like we've mentioned, and what have you got planned in the future? Have you got any more schools to visit on your journey?
Yeah, tomorrow we've got another. This morning we went to my ex-high school, and we're going back there again tomorrow to Kyneton High.
Any embarrassing stories from the teachers there?
Embarrassing well, the deputy head, who is now the deputy head, was my form tutor, so luckily she wasn't in there, because I thought, you know, 5 years of having me running around ragged, yeah. So, and then we're at Thomas Jolliffe tomorrow. We've got a school in Coventry. Chris's daughter teaches at a school in Coventry on Friday. So yeah, I mean, as Chris said, I think we've hit about 6,000 odd people in a week, and they've all been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, so nice, you know, welcome, open arms, and it's been a real pleasure actually, hasn't it? I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been great anecdotes from the school visits that, you know, we keep playing back to each other, and one of them today, which I'm sure all of the audience will smile at, is that the headmaster stood up and said, "Okay, what do I tell you about your phones? Okay, this is the first time I'm going to allow you. Get your phones out and download the track now," which is really nice.
Exactly what you want.
Through to reception when we went today, and a little girl from reception came up to us and said, "Sir, how do I download iTunes?" She just didn't get it, but it was really nice, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I suppose when you speak to schools as well, they'll go home and they'll speak to their parents as well, and this is just how the song grows as well, and you get more people involved. But I guess a story like this, very close to yourselves, and a very local story as well, I guess it brings the community together, you'd say.
I think definitely, yeah. I mean, we've seen some real solidarity, haven't we? People have really, I mean, the list is too long to list. I mean, even locally, Leamington Spa, the Royal Priors, one lady there's got a sweet shop. And Spangles, yeah, and a diner, and she has smashed everybody in the Royal Priors. There's posters everywhere. In fact, we're there on Saturday doing a bit, you know, and that's just one example. So many businesses, Leamington, Stratford, Shipston, have gone, yeah, we'll put the poster up. Yes, we'll talk to our clients about it. And I think, as you say, because it's a local thing. But what we found when we started doing this more and more is actually there is, unfortunately, a Conrad Lewis in, I won't say every town, but too many towns in the UK, you know, so it is actually a national thing. It's not just a local thing, and that's why we've fortunately managed to get some national support as well, because it's something everybody knows somebody in the forces.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is such a wonderful thing to do, and of course it's taken off, and we hope it keeps growing. But you guys at home can be doing your thing as well. Make sure you download the song on iTunes. Of course, you're helping your bit for the 353 there as well. And thank you very much to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed your day at Stratford College.
We loved it.
Yeah,
we loved it.
And all the best on the rest of your school tour, as we'll call it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for tuning in on Stratcast today and seeing this wonderful duo produce a fantastic song. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.